Somebody call the cops because we're breaking out the bracelets. Woo! Terrible opening, I know. I told Dustin it was going to be terrible.
Yeah, but
we're talking about handcuffs. I'm trying to be clever. Dustin always says, you got to be more clever.
That was worse than I thought it was going to be.
That was pretty bad. So, handcuffs though, right? You get a stud running back, you're like, you know what? One of my last round picks, I should just handcuff him. But that's not always the case. Sometimes, if you're taking a guy middle round, then late, but not super late, you might want to take his handcuff just so you have it locked up, especially in the modern day and age for NFLs. Everybody, first of all, splits carries. For the love of God, even Le'Veon Bell, to a degree, splits carries. So.
And also, too, like when we say handcuff, like Freeman and Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman's not really a handcuff to Freeman. He kind of is. But when guys have independent value, regardless if someone's hurt or not, we don't really consider that a handcuff because they're already getting drafted in a certain spot. We're just talking about the guys that may or may not be getting drafted very high that could have huge value if the guy in front of them gets hurt. Before we get into it though, we're partnering with FanDuel again this year. We got our game going, our Beat the Experts game. Click the link in the description. It takes you there. It's a $5 contest. And if you beat all of the experts, the FanDuel will be giving out free entries to next week's entries in the cash game. So if you're going to be playing some FanDuel, you can get a chance to win the regular money like you would, and you can get some free entries in the next week if you beat everybody. And I can't remember how many they're giving away, but if you beat us, you got a chance for some free entries. So check that out. So our top handcuff, our guy that we think you have to handcuff if you get the other running back, is Chris Carson. And you're like, well, how can he be the handcuff? He's labeled as the starter. Just because Penny is still getting drafted over Carson, so we're saying that Carson is the handcuff just because he's going after him in the draft. And this is a situation that's getting very interesting because Penny's kind of moving down and Carson's kind of moving up, and they're going to get pretty close to each other in the draft before it's all said and done. If you're at a turn, come like 6th, 7th round-ish, if you can just pair them both up.
I like that.
It's not a bad call just because you know there's going to be points on that offense. You know that one of those guys is going to emerge as at least the 60% of a 60-40 split, worst case. So you just lock it up. It's going to be scary owning just one of those guys. But we still have Penny over Carson. We think he's the #1 handcuff, how we're calling them handcuffs.
All right, let's move out to Minnesota. You know, Cooks got all banged up last year. When that happened, in steps Latavius Murray. 842 rushing yards, 103 receiving yards, and 8 touchdowns. He did pretty good in the absence of Cook. So there's new offensive coordinator there, but again, if you're taking a guy that's coming off a major injury like that, and as late as Latavius Murray's going, you might as well handcuff it and just feel good about that situation. Because I think with the new offensive coordinator, you know, somebody's going to get the bulk of the carries. So if Cook goes down, you feel good with the next man up in Latavius Murray.
Nick Chubb's the next guy. You know, Hyde is going before Chubb, just a little bit earlier than him as of right now. You know, we'll see how that happens in terms of preseason, if that gets closer or if Chubb's actually ends up, you know, going over Hyde. But we think Hyde's going to be the starter. But the more exciting pick is still Chubb, even though he's going, you know, a couple rounds later as of now. So again, it's not a bad duo to pair. I know it's the Browns offense. You're not super excited about that. But it just, you know, if you're going to do it, if you're going to draft Hyde, it's not a bad idea to just go ahead and lock up that situation. You know, you got to use 2 roster spots on the Browns running back. But, you know, Chubb's fun. He's interesting. And owning just Hyde, that's not that exciting. And owning just Chubb, it's just like, oh, when is he going to get his chance? No. So, I mean, at least, you know, again, it's 2 roster spots, but you know, there's going to be some value there. The Browns
have to invest a ton of draft capital in them. They're both going later than some of these guys.
And they have to be better this year. They have to be.
You keep saying that.
They have to be.
All right,
especially if they get Dez.
We got Booker. Freeman. Royce is the rookie. He's going over Booker. Booker did start the first preseason game. He did not do well. What we call underwhelmed in the first preseason game. Freeman looked really good. So as right now, they're saying Booker is the starter. However, Freeman's getting more and more first-team snaps. We think Freeman is going to be the man out there. However, should anything happen to him, should he not be able to pick up pass protection, it does look kind of like a one-back system out there. So obviously everybody splits. But again, this is another kind of where we say if you're getting Freeman, just grab Booker late.
Yeah, and like Brent just said too, with what he was talking about with everyone splits, we typically try to look towards teams that go more towards one-back systems. And Green Bay's next, and they do typically have a lead back, even though it does look like Ty Montgomery is going to be kind of solidified as the third down guy, it looks like. And Williams is going to start the year as the starter with Jones suspended. But we still like Aaron Jones. I mean, he was the better runner last year. So again, it's not a bad idea. This is a great offense. Get Williams, get Jones way later, and you lock it up. Come week 3, people are going to be nervous. Jones is coming back. Yeah, what's going to happen? And
he will be the hottest waiver wire pickup. Yeah, guaranteed. Guaranteed. So 100%. Last round.
He had 5.5 yards per carry last year and 81 carries. He had 4 rushing touchdowns. The guy was good. He looked the part. He really did. So I would be worried being a Williams owner and not having Jones. So I think he's a great guy to pair with Williams.
Week 3 waiver wire show. I want you to say you should have got out the bracelets, like Brent said. All right, Dougie Fresh, Doug Martin, muscle hands to the guy called Quad City, which only I understand. So it's terrible showmanship.
Yeah.
He is the handcuff to Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch is the starter out there. So that's first and foremost. Some people say it's a battle. It ain't a battle. Marshawn Lynch is going to be the starter. Doug Martin's going to be the handcuff. Gruden, don't look too much into it with, kind of his roots or whatever that is. It doesn't matter. New day and age. Lynch is the starter. Go ahead and get Martin if you're taking Lynch.
Foreman is next for the Texans. This is a guy that everyone has, or
it's interesting.
A lot of people have really liked him. But Lamar Miller is really good. But Foreman is going to get his chance. He's banged up right now, but he averaged 4.2 yards a carry last year. And again, I think there will need to be a Lamar Miller injury, I think, for Foreman to really get his shot. But he's going to factor in, even if Miller stays healthy. So he's not a bad guy. One of your last picks, just throw him in there. If you drafted Miller and you got an extra roster spot, he's not a bad guy to put on your bench, just see what happens.
All right, next up, we got James Conner for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Simply because Le'Veon Bell, we think, is the best player in all of fantasy. If you're taking him, if you're going to invest the #1 overall pick or #2 or #3, wherever you get him, you're going to want to handcuff him because if something happens to him, you're going to want to have Conner. And who knows, with all the weird contract stuff and whatnot, I mean, Le'Veon's going to be there. There's 99.9% chance he is. But on that 0.01, you're going to be happy if you have Conner. Also, if you're drafting now, don't draft a kicker. Draft one of these handcuffs. We'll say that at the end again.
If he gets traded? What are you talking about?
Just something with the contract. Who knows? At 99.9, I shouldn't even say it because that's
you're just confusing. So, you're not telling.
Here's the deal: Le'Veon Bell's a beast. If you're drafting him #1 overall, go ahead and get his handcuffs.
In deeper leagues, all
this depends on how many bench spots you have. It all depends
on how many bench spots you have. But
very true.
Just because you draft Bell doesn't mean you should draft Conner, but it's got to be a deeper league. Next is Rod Smith out there with the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott's been pretty durable. It's been suspensions that have gotten him out of the lineup. But Rod Smith showed flashes last year when he got a chance. Alfred Morris is gone now. They do have Bo Scarborough, who it will probably be kind of a tandem attack if Elliott was to go down with both those guys. But Smith would be the more fun, exciting guy to own. Big play potential. He's not a bad handcuff to grab in deep leagues if you're looking for an Elliott handcuff.
All right, so say you get Jay Ajayi. You're going to be nervous, first of all, because there's Corey Clement, there's Sproles, there's Wendell Smallwood. Out of those guys, we believe Corey is going to be the handcuff to Ajayi. But if Ajayi goes down, it might be kind of a mess. That's why we have this as our 10th handcuff you have to do. So really, if you have Ajayi and you're going to back him up, it's definitely you got to have a deep bench because it's probably going to be a little bit of a mess. However, there has been some local reports about how good Corey Clement has been looking lately in camp. And he might even be pushing Ajayi for some carries at the start of the year. So that's why we want to highlight him here because this could be, an outside scenario where, maybe he just outright wins the job at some point if Ajayi's not performing.
And we do have these kind of ranked on how we would take them in terms of importance, in terms of handcuffing your guys. So that's our handcuff list. I know there's a lot of debate on if you should handcuff or if you shouldn't. Like we touched on a little bit, it depends on league settings.
100%.
It depends on how many bench spots you have.
100%.
So don't feel like you have to. But if you were going to, these are the ones we would consider.
But if you are drafting soon, let's say middle of August or whatnot, don't take a kicker.
No chance.
Take one of these handcuffs and say the incumbent goes down. then you're going to be very happy. Let's say it doesn't happen, you can just cut them and pick up your kicker.
It's a great tip. One of my favorites. So check out all our other videos, subscribe to our channel, get into our FanDuel game. Terrible. Hopefully you're not in any handcuffs.
Start it. So you put in these too. Oh, that's so easy.
Oh. Is it? No look.